Welcome EDEXCEL A-Level Economics B students. Welcome to the video on 12 markers. There are two 12 markers in paper 1, 2 in paper 2 and 2 in paper 3. So it's super important you know how to answer them. The 12 markers are really straightforward when you understand how to gain those marks. This video will include an example of a 12-mark question and an answer. And towards the end of the video, there will be a tip. Now for these 12 markers, the command word tends to be assess. Assess the importance, assess the extent, assess the impact, assess the likely problems. These are some of the ways that it is worded. It is important to remember with a 12 marker, you must evaluate. Very important. You must look at both sides of the argument. Now for the assess question, marks are awarded as follows: 2 marks for knowledge and understanding, 2 marks for application, 4 marks for analysis, and 4 marks for evaluation. To show knowledge and understanding, you might want to include a definition, or the question might be worded so you have to identify 2 effects or ways or impacts, for example. For application, you need to ensure that you support your arguments with evidence from the case study. If you struggle at all to find that information within the case study, then you need to bring in outside information that's relevant, but you must have application. The first source though is going to be the case study, so do look for that information. When it comes to analysis, you should develop your arguments by using logical chains of reasoning. You should be using words such as because and this means that and as a result. Use these logical chains of reasoning and show a full understanding of the question. You must evaluate in this 12 marker. Make sure you're looking at both sides of the argument within your answer. And finally, you need to have a final judgment. You must include a judgment at the end of your answer that is fully supported. Just a reminder to like, share and subscribe, as I do post regularly. Now here is our 12-mark assess question. It's taken from paper 1. And the question reads as follows: assess the importance of economies of scale to the success of firms such as Nike or Nike. 12 marks. Now we couldn't proceed without looking at the case study. So just like when you're in your exam, you will read the case study and you will ensure that your answer relates to the case study. So here we go. The growth of sportswear sales. According to research, the global market for sportswear is forecast to reach $231 billion by 2024. Growth in the market is driven by healthier lifestyles and technological developments designed to improve comfort and performance of sportswear. Sports clothing and footwear is a highly popular style statement and fashion trend. Nike remains the global market leader and is amongst the top 20 most valuable global brands. In 2016, Nike's sales revenue was $32.4 billion, an increase of 6% from 2015. And in the same period, net profit increased by 15% to $3.8 billion. Whilst Nike still has the largest market share, it is losing ground to Adidas, New Balance and Under Armour. China is expected to be the fastest growing region for sales of sportswear and is attracting new entrants to the market. Total sales in China rose in 2016 to $27 billion. Chinese brand Anta sponsored the 2016 Chinese Olympic team and achieved 10% market share with a total revenue of $2.7 billion. The operating profit margin was 24%. Sometimes students do ignore some of the charts and tables and some data that is within a case study where it can be quite relevant. Now, if you want to pause the video, you can do so and attempt the question. Now, for this type of question, it's important that you know the different types of economies of scale and that you can apply it to Nike. Let's take a look at our first paragraph. Economies of scale occur when long-run average costs fall as output rises. Examples of economies of scale include purchasing economies of scale, technical economies of scale, and risk-bearing economies of scale. Purchasing economies of scale is important to the success of Nike, as Nike remains the global market leader and has global dominance in the sports market. They're able to buy leather and other material in bulk and achieve a discount when purchasing the material. This means that Nike are able to further reduce their costs when manufacturing the sportswear. The reduction of average costs for Nike might be reflected in lower prices for customers, which would in turn attract more customers. On the other hand, economies of scale might not be that important to Nike, as they produce the top of the range sportswear, which continues to sell for high prices. Nike benefit from technical economies of scale, from the increased use of large-scale mechanical processes and machinery used in its plants. This is because Nike, as a large business, will readily have the capital to invest in newer and better technology to produce the premium range of clothing and footwear. This leads to Nike having cost advantages that smaller businesses like Anta and 361 Degrees are unable to achieve. This would overall result in Nike being able to introduce new product lines at a faster pace and would lead to an increase in market share. However, growth in the sportswear industry is being driven by healthier lifestyles and technological developments, and Nike must meet changing customer requirements to remain competitive. On to our final judgment. Overall, economies of scale is important to the success of firms such as Nike. Economies of scale may cause barriers to entry for new entrants into the Chinese market and help maintain the dominance of Nike. In the long term, it is important, and it would mean that their market share in China may increase from 18%. The success of Nike would depend on whether Nike will maintain the appeal of its clothing and footwear to remain dominant. Top tip: you will be assessed on your quantitative skills in all 3 papers. So you could be tested in the forms of diagrams and graphs, calculations, or data in extracts. Use this information where relevant. Do not ignore it. The next 2 videos that will appear on the screen are what YouTube thinks you should watch next. Thanks for watching.